Welcome, everybody, to the lab. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. It's great to be here. We got a fantastic show for you with fantastic guests, as always. And thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Let me introduce you to our panel. We can hop right in. We got Chris McDonough down below. If you guys have not watched Chris's show tonight about the JonBenet Ramsey case, it's part 4 in a riveting series that's been going on. But Chris, thanks so much for being here. I know you're a busy guy, but I always appreciate having you.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate the invite. Hello, Lambrats.
Of course. And then up in the corner right next to me, we have John Lamb, a retired homicide sergeant, I believe, and author as well. We got some exciting news right before we came on the air. I got told some exciting news. I'll let you share that news, John.
Well, thanks, Josh. And it's great to be here. And let me just jump in and say, you need to be watching Chris's programs about the JonBenet Ramsey case. You need to. You're not going to find material of this intellectual depth and investigative acumen anywhere else in YouTube. So, for those who haven't heard, my book, Bring Out Your Dead, was released and available on Amazon beginning on Monday, and it is out. And I've been enormously gratified with people who've gone out and purchased it. So thank you. And and then the other news, I'm going to go to San Diego this weekend to be filmed for the program Snapped. They're doing Snapped. Yeah.
Great program.
Network. And they're going to be retelling the story of a murder for hire from 42 years ago, from 1984, that Chris will remember, but that we worked, and these master criminals who thought they had it all figured out, they were all in custody 18 hours later. And so, yeah, it's the story in some, and I have that story is also in my book, Bring Out Your Dead, and it's just, these are people who were not on the deep end of the intellectual gene pool. They just weren't. But they thought there's sort of like a Dunning-Kruger aspect to this.
Yeah.
They just, they imagined they were brilliant, and then they were shocked when, it collapsed. The conspiracy collapsed as quickly as a lawn beach chair.
For those of you that don't understand or don't know the Dunning-Kruger effect, it's when somebody who's not very smart has this epiphany that all of a sudden they understand things that they have no idea, and they kind of pontificate it to the world, and then it goes down. It's actually it's something Dr. Gary is very familiar with, being studied, but it is quite the effect. And I think a lot of criminals go through that, where they go, well, we're smarter, and we'll be like the show Dexter, we'll cover
Oh
everything
yeah.
plastic, and then you're just going, I don't think that's going to work so well.
You know
But
where else we saw it, Josh?
the Brian
Police,
Covert case,
and police administrators.
oh, that too, yeah.
I hate to like flog a dead horse in that regard, but it's not uncommon to have police administrators who imagine that they are, and not all, but enough that it leaps to mind. And the other thing I just want to quickly mention is that there is another podcast produced by the Oceanside Historical Society, and it is a called Coastal Crimes. And if you have an interest in watching something, and these two ladies are with the Historical Society, but they do some pretty assiduous research. And right now they are episode 4 just dropped, which is also about this murder for hire. And you might find it fascinating how the conspiracy came together. And it's called Coastal Crimes. And if you go there, and they're covering the Troiani case, Laura Troiani. And they have done, they did a previous program on another famous murder that I mean, it's not even on the tip of my tongue. So I'm having a senior moment.
Well, do those actually exist? I mean, that's a real thing. I've heard it before, but I think, because I think I have those too, but so what would I call them? Just the Dunning-Kruger effect?
You know what? I just can't remember the name. I will tell you, I live in terror.
Which one was it, Johnny?
The bodybuilders, the roid rage.
That was Sally.
Yeah,
Killer Sally.
or Sally
McMahon,
Yeah.
or McMillan.
And they actually corrected some points that were.
I did the crime scene on that one.
Did you? Okay, well they got some things wrong on the TV show, which has been corrected. So you see, getting some good research on this show. So
Yeah, they got a lot. I saw that piece they did on. It's actually in Netflix.
It was a
Killer
Netflix
Sally.
thing. Yeah,
They had Sheila and Sojin in that, and Chris.
yep.
But yeah, no, I did the crime scene on that one. She blew his jaw off.
Yeah.
It was all over the right side of the kitchen.
Wow.
Okay, we shouldn't be laughing about this, but
No, roid rage.
yeah, roid
Blew his
rage.
face off.
Yeah, I remember you telling me.
Something to chew on.
Hey, Chris, also, and so on Friday, I'm having a show with Dr.
Have
Gary.
the veal. Remember, tip your server.
That's right. And we'll take some calls that night, but also on Friday night. But we're going to talk a little bit about Koberger and what's going on there. But you called this from, I don't know, day 3, maybe earlier than that. I remember when the news broke. I actually told you, and you said, "Oh, is it official?" I said, "Yeah." We all got together, did a show, and you. So I think it might have been the first day, but you were not convinced that this was going to be his final hoorah when it came to this plea deal. And what I think it sounds like personally, and it sounds like jail sucks or prison sucks.
He got a new attorney today too. The court appointed him an attorney.
Great.
So yeah, we'll see what we'll see what he's going to. This isn't over. When he reminds me so much of Wilson, Brandon Wilson, who whacked Matthew. So I had to go do a follow-up in Wisconsin. So I was at the airport the next day when he was getting arraigned. And I look up, I'm at the, in the
television in the terminal.
Yeah, the terminal. And I'm looking at the TV, and there he is, on, I think it was channel 10. And I remember before I had left, I told who was it? Maybe Morgan's. I told Tom Morgan's. I said, "Hey, he's not done. You watch." And sure enough, man, if it didn't take 15 minutes of fame for him to stand in front of all the TVs, he screams out to the court, "I did it. I did it. I killed that little boy." And I remember just sitting there going, "Hmm,
Called it.
yeah, this is gonna be another showstopper here." Kohlberger is cut from the same cloth. He This is all about staying relevant and staying in the news, giving people something to say, "Hey, remember me? I'm Brian Kohlberger. I'm in a 4x10 cell now," or whatever he's complaining about. He even wrote the dimensions of the cell in the paperwork
Yeah,
uh,
I saw
to the.
that. Yeah, I saw that.
You got to love that guy.
So
You know,
he's
not
complaining
literally everybody, not
about the size of the cell.
huh?
He's complaining about the size of the cell.
Yeah, he's a pretzel boy. He- he's a pretzel boy. I mean, just it's all about him, and you can't just think about it. Everything that he did, it took a long time for him to get to that point, but now it's over. What else does he have now? He's
Nothing.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just
show
prisoners
relevance.
will do this just simply because they're bored, and
Yeah,
he's an egomaniac.
Well, that's exactly correct. He thinks that he's smarter than everybody, and that's sort of his. That's kind of been his thing from anybody that's ever spoken with him or known him. He's got an enormous ego. He's believes that he's
he's got a fan club. They threw $10,000 on his books. Can you imagine that?
no.
But who cares? I mean, if people feel that they are in love with a mass murderer, then you know what? Oh well, you
Yeah, I
can't
talked about
fix
a little
it.
bit
But
about that a little bit last night, and it never fails. It seems as though this happens in every case. Bundy had him, Richard Ramirez had him,
yep,
and so and then it's nothing new, but it is an odd phenomenon and something that is actually really disturbing because he does have a fan club. He has a fan club.
here's
They even have their own names. The
here's the
pro.
good news. All the crama folks who blame all the true crime folks, okay, now they can make money
Oh yeah, have
on
fun.
their side. They can get all the clicks and the likes, and everybody come watch them and all that stuff. And it's a reverse engineering, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the
Yeah.
And
mirror.
Josh, this dynamic of the groupies, although they weren't called this is not anything new. Mark Twain wrote about a famous murder case in New York, disparagingly of people that were, doing what they're doing now, associating themselves with a known killer, and celebrating a celebrity and getting offers of marriage. So it's not. It seems to be a flaw within the human creature.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a certain subset of people that are naturally drawn to that for whatever reason. I remember last night I was talking on my show about OJ, and how I believe that OJ is one of the most guilty people of all time. The evidence was overwhelming in a way that is rarely seen in trials, like to the extent of how could this happen, right? And I remember when this was years after the murders of his wife and Goldman, that somebody had called the police on him because he had an altercation with his girlfriend whoever that was in the lobby of a hotel room. And I said, girlfriend. I didn't know that that was a sought after position for this guy. Like, I mean, it's just, you know, it's kind of par for the course. I mean,
The year of living dangerously.
I was like, girlfriend, I didn't know people were filling out applications for that position. I
I
mean,
love you, OJ, but I don't want to go to a steakhouse.
yeah, exactly. Oh man, so it was just unbelievable. But anyway, Dr. Gary and I are going to talk about that a little bit on Friday as well, and then we'll also take some phone calls tonight. Chris and John, I invited you guys on because we're going to review this interview. I have not seen this interview, and because I wanted to react to it, you know, fresh, and I've heard people talking about it, and you know, well, I'll get you guys' takes on it. But Chris, I'm kind of bummed out that you didn't nail down an interview first before this young man.
I'm glad he did.
I'm glad he did it too. Good for him. I haven't seen it. I'm sure I've heard good things about the interview. I just haven't seen it, but he's avoiding people.
Well, just think about it. I mean, as a whole, right? Nanos got in the ring with a 17-year-old high school student.
He had to fight to his weight, man.
Who, by the way, is a very gifted young man. That I think that you'll see that. I think he had Nanos up against the ropes, but you know, because I've watched the interview and I think it was very, very well done. But here's the sad part for Nanos. He had to go, 9 rounds with this kid, and he won. The kid won. Ding, ding. He got the belt. And again, it just goes to show you, where Nanos is incompetent. And by the way, keep all the emails going to the AG's office. They got flooded by people demanding that Nanos get his due time. That the AG, files an indictment against him. And I've even had, other cops complaining, about why would you do that to, another cop? And I don't know. He beat the crap out of, somebody and put them in the ICU while they were handcuffed. That one must be lost on law enforcement today, but in our time. Huh?
You have people. That's a new one, Chris. I never knew anybody complained about you.
Well, I'll just let it sit there. They know who they are, and if they're listening, good luck. I don't defend any dirty police ever. I never had. John knows me like a book. I was also the POA chairman. I was on our board of directors for 13 years, and I can tell you, I was the negotiations officer. I was also the guy that would go in and sit down with the command staff and say, yes or no, yeah, yada yada. But if you're a dirty cop, guess what? You're out. No, you don't pass go and you don't collect $200.
It's almost I get the brotherhood aspect of things, not just being a police officer, but in general, like there's a brotherhood of, I don't know, if you're in a bowling league, fine. I'm just saying, but it's if you're a bad person and you do bad things, so what, you don't turn somebody in or you don't turn on that person because they're a human like you. I mean, at the end of the day, that's all it is. I mean, we're all humans who are fallible and make mistakes. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And it doesn't matter what organization you're with. It doesn't matter who you're friends with. It doesn't matter who, who's on your side. If you're wrong, you're wrong. And that's all there is to it.
But law enforcement is at a different level. I mean, think about it. A law enforcement officer can arrest somebody in the military. A law enforcement officer can arrest somebody who's a senator, somebody who's a congressperson. There is so much power in the powers of arrest.
Sure.
That you know, you can't, you better do it right and get it right, because
Yeah, you're right about that. You're right about that.
it's,
There
yeah,
is much more. There's much more power. Yes, you're right. When you have power like that and you abuse it, it's much more sinister. It's much more dangerous.
that's right. John?
Well, and the mere aspect of being silent when we have evidence that he engaged in an assault with a deadly weapon and an assault under the color of authority, and then lied about it, submitted false information. I don't understand the thinking that is, well, still he wears a badge and we need to stand and surround him. I'm sorry, I don't want to work with thugs. I
Sure.
don't. And if you beat somebody with a flashlight, that's the word I'm going to use. And particularly a prisoner in handcuffs. And in fact, Chris had something. The video he showed of the jail deputies,
Yeah, put Michael Crow up there.
gang fooing this guy,
What?
and the sheriff's response was, "Well, you don't know what happened before." And I didn't have the chance to say
Want me
this, but I'll say it now.
That guy, put him up.
Yeah.
There you go. Let's talk about it.
He said he was this guy was in, they got on this guy, they tased him, they hit him. The sheriff said, "Well, you don't know what happened before." Frankly, Sheriff, I don't care what happened before because he wasn't resisting now. So if he isn't resisting now, you don't get to play catch up, which was what the old expression was in the old days. He stopped resisting, therefore, you stop applying pain as a method of securing compliance.
Hmm.
I have fought, and Chris will know this. My reputation on the streets was I would fight you, and I have fought people. I have used my nightstick, I've used my fists. But the moment resisted ended, that's when the violence stopped. Well, we saw the exact opposite. So if cops have a problem with you or me saying that, this guy needs to be held to answer for what he did, well, deal with it. I don't care.
Well, and Chris, right here, somebody who obviously doesn't know anything about the Michael Crow case is trying to rage bait you. And I get it, I get it. But what would you like to say? Go ahead.
Well, he's not. He's just going to sell the book.
Yeah.
Who Killed Stephanie Crow? You can get it on Amazon. It's a fantastic book. I own a copy of it. I've read it
And,
one and a half times.
and
It'll
the other thing for clarity, just so he knows, number one, I'm not afraid to ever talk about it, ever.
We've done shows on it. You've done shows on it on your show. We've
I
done
have-
shows here.
I've had Richard Tewitt's attorney on my show. And you know who, here's the great thing about it. I've even been asked about it on the stand, testifying in a murder trial. So, when people like this, whatever your name is, that's not your real name, but, whatever. You may even be Michael.
Probably is.
Why'd you kill your sister? Let's be real about it. See? Silence. That's how it works.
Exactly.
And that's the great thing about trolling a clean cop, because we are not afraid to go right at you and come right at you. Because when you think about it, you don't have anything. I mean, you have me putting handcuffs on Michael Crow. Well, John, what agency was investigating the Crow?
The primary investigative agency was the Escondido Police Department. They requested your services to assist, but you were not a part of the investigation. You didn't arrest him. You had nothing to do with filing any of the arrest paperwork. It was the Escondido Police Department.
Yeah, so it's getting old. There you go. I mean, unless you can show me the arrest report with my name on it, I'd love to see it. Go ahead, Josh.
I would think that just for clarification, in that infamous video of the interrogation of Michael Crow, that you're actually not in, but you have sort of the same haircut as Mark Risley, who is the lead interrogator on that. And I don't remember who the other guy in the room is.
Ralph Clater.
So everybody talks about this horrible interrogation. This what they called it torture of this young man, but you weren't even there for it.
No, that was like 6 hours before I got there.
Right.
And
this guy thinks he's seen the video before of it happening, and he thinks that Mark Risley is you.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Correct.
And that's fine. Trust me, I've lived with it forever. But here's always the good news. Do you have the 40, Josh, if you wouldn't mind? I mean, I absolutely love this, to be honest with you. Do you have the 48 hours piece of me calling into the radio station that you could play real fast? I mean, we'll make some news tonight. Might as well hit it, seeing how Knucklehead brought it up. So just real fast, while Josh is searching for it, there was a 12-year-old little girl that was murdered in Escondido, California.
What was the name of the show that you called in? What was the name of the show?
Just type in Michael Crow, just Michael Crow. It's 48 Hours was the show.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And long story short, there was 3 centimeters of blood on a transient sweatshirt by the name of Richard Tewitt. There were 3 boys that had been arrested by Escondido Police Department. I was asked to do a CVSA, which is basically a polygraph machine. I was one of 2 people in San Diego County at the time that got called, or I was the only one that got called to come in and do the polygraph. I got caught up in the lawsuit like everybody else. They sued like 40 people. I was one of them. My agency paid out, I think, $800,000 because it was cheaper than fighting them. And that's how that was the payout. Okay. Had nothing to do with me. In fact, I was thrown out of the case 3 times and put back in by judge shopping. And then they arrested the wrong guy. I refused to testify in that guy's trial. And ultimately the jury found him not guilty. And he walked. And then everybody called me up and said, wow, you were right. And but I only get remembered for the things people say on the internet. So, remember, don't believe everything you read or see on the internet. I had called a radio station while 48 Hours was filming.
That's what I'm looking for.
You want me to find it?
Yeah, if you can.
Yeah, sure.
I see part 1 and 2, but
let's see here.
And John, really quick here, it says, John, your late wife is so proud of you. She's your biggest fan still. Be safe with your travels. And that's what I was thinking too, was, how exciting that this is happening now.
It is exciting. And actually, thank you, Becky. And there was a question I just saw. Somebody wanted to know when I'm going to be in Franklin. And that's going to be August 20th through the 23rd for the Killer Nashville Writing Conference. But the reason why I became a writer was Joyce loved me enough to tell me when my writing was dreadful. and did it. Well, you need somebody to do that, to look at this and go,
Yeah, but I doubt it was dreadful. But I get what you're
oh
saying.
no, yeah, my writing has undergone huge changes and it was because of her, and because she supported my dream to become a professional author and believed in me. And so I believe that you're absolutely correct. She is proud of me, and basically I've been a recluse for about 18 months, and suddenly I'm appears the good Lord is basically evicting me from my reclusive zone. So now I'm going to be on the road. So thank you, Becky.
Chris,
I
are you
didn't,
having?
I didn't realize there's so many
There's so
videos.
many.
Holy crap. Did you know there were this many videos?
Yes, I did. Unfortunately,
Holy crap. I'll find it, but it's going to take me a little bit here. I didn't realize there was this many videos.
well, we can do it. We can do it. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. I found it. I found it.
You did?
I did find it. Yeah, I'll send it to you in a minute. But let me put it up.
You can just put it up.
Yeah.
And here's something. No, well, that's the interview. But what about the 40?
Right here.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. You ready?
That was one of them. Go ahead.
Into this radio show on the same day the case is dismissed. Detective Chris McDonough calls into this radio show to defend his role in the interrogation process.
I did not wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, stop for a
and
minute.
sit down and say,
Stop.
you know what?
Stop. Okay, first of all, how many cops do you know that would do this if they were guilty? Just
None.
I'm asking that guy who tried to, play me. How many cops do you know would do it? You're going to see something here in a minute. What you see right now is exactly what you're going to see back then. I haven't changed one iota.
This is actually a really great segment. I enjoy it.
That's me walking in this picture with Josh Treadway. That's not even Michael Crow. That's Josh Treadway. He's the lookout. And by the way, he gave a full confession, which was admitted into trial. Okay? Let's put the truth out there if people want the truth. That is 100% admitted. The judge ruled his confession of him being the lookout while Michael and Aaron Hauser killed Stephanie Crow. He was the lookout, and his statement was admissible in trial. That's truth. And guess what? You can't be sued for truth, period. So the second piece of this is they were talking about Mary Ellen Attridge there, the defense attorney, you're going to see her in a minute, was his attorney. Well, she was furious that his statement was coming into court. So who did they blame? They blamed the cops. And so she blamed me. And then they went after Richard Tuitt, the transient who was ultimately arrested. By the way, a schizophrenic who was ultimately arrested and then ultimately acquitted, found not guilty by a jury. They went after an innocent man. And you know who defended that innocent man?
You did.
You're looking at him.
But it's also, Chris, it's also important to note why the case was dismissed.
And it's important to note for people that say, oh, Michael Crow or this or that. Well, great. Let's bring it on. Here's the receipts. I called into this radio show and I told Mary Ellen Attridge, you need to shut your mouth. Because as a county employee, and by the way, I filed an injunction against her.
Yeah, and never heard from her again.
And she went away.
Yeah, she never spoke again.
How many cops do that?
Well, none, unless none if they're guilty.
So I did not know that 48 Hours was recording this show that day. Okay. I just called in to defend an innocent man, Richard Tuitt. back then before they tried to convict him. And then they did convict him. But guess what? I'm on the record in this particular clip right here of saying who's going to defend that guy. Listen, here we go.
Today's the day I'm going to 2 o'clock.
Show to defend his role in the interrogation process.
I did not wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and sit down and say, you know what? Today's the day I'm going to plant and frame Joshua Treadway for murder.
Well, I don't
That's
think that
ridiculous.
anybody, Detective McDonough, I don't think anybody is saying that this is
secondarily,
born
on top
of
of that,
hostility
and if
rather
I
than
may finish,
stupidity.
If I may finish, secondarily, on top of that, videotape it at the same time. It's ridiculous. I am in a job to bring justice to that family, but I'm also in a job to bring justice to Mr. Tuitt if, in fact, he is not the perpetrator.
Despite the fact that Stephanie Crow's blood was found on Richard Tuitt's
There you
shirt.
go.
There you go.
So that should end this. That now you guys can clip this, and I hope you can put it all over the internet. Okay, because the person that you saw leaning back, okay, was Mary Ellen Attridge, who was Josh's Treadway's attorney. Okay, and this was the guy they framed. They framed him. The defense framed this guy.
An innocent man because he was
an innocent man because of a cross-contamination on his shirt from a criminalist by the name of George Durgan. And guess what? I wouldn't go along with it.
Well, and Chris, I'll add this. This was well known throughout the law enforcement community that Richard Tuitt had been basically selected to be a fall guy. And, there was there were some who were saying, oh, yeah, that's him. But in my experience, the more experienced homicide guys in the county knew that it wasn't him.
Yeah,
And, because it was a travesty.
And her, Mary Ellen Attridge, who's a dirtbag for doing that. She's a triple dirtbag. She's retired now, thank goodness. Okay. She framed that guy. And I had his attorney on, Brad Patton, on my show. And if anybody wants to see it, it's on my channel. Just look up Stephanie Crow, who killed Stephanie Crow. And so here's the question. Seeing how he has been exonerated, well, guess what? Then who killed her? There's only 3 people left.
the people that initially confessed to it. Oh, and also the brother who wrote in his diary that he wanted to kill his sister.
Hey,
Wasn't he the one, which one was it that that Halloween went as the Grim Reaper?
I think that was Aaron.
Shocker.
Yeah. Yeah. So you know what? I love it when people bring up Crow, because 2 things you do for me. One, you sell the book, Who Killed Stephanie Crow? It's available on Amazon. I didn't write it. I was put on the cover by Dr. Paul Tracy. He wrote it and said, "Hey, I'm going to put you on the cover." I said, "No, you're not." You know, because I never made I didn't make any money, nothing like that. But he did it. I said, "Okay, whatever." And then number 2, I defended that. I defended the truth. And that's what I do. And just like this, you know, she, as you notice, she tried to talk over me, and I wouldn't let her play the game, because I'm not like those of you who now know me on YouTube for the last 6 years. Okay. You guys get it. I don't look, the truth is the truth. That's it. It will set you free. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And plus, you don't have to lie to cover it. Okay. You don't have to play games, you know, like, oh, I said this, I said that, or whatever. Okay. So there you go, about Michael Crow and Stephanie Crow. My question back to everybody else is, well, who killed her then?
Well, I think I know who did it.
Read the book. It's a good read.
It is. It's fantastic. And by the way, the case was dismissed not because of improper interrogation techniques. The case was dismissed because the judge didn't like a certain form that was submitted. Correct?
Yeah.
everybody thinks that the case got dropped because these kids were tortured by interrogators, but that's not what happened at all. The interrogation, the courts had no problems with the interrogation. I mean, it's just true. Where'd he go?
What's the old saying? Don't bring a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah, that's always good advice.
Right, John?
Yep.
We should do a show one night just on this. Okay. By the way, here are the test results of the boys. This one is Aaron's, showed deception. And let me get the Miranda form that the cop didn't, or that by the way, here's all of his questions. This one's for Aaron. Okay. Is your name Aaron Hauser? Yeah. Did you kill Stephanie Crow? No. Okay. Yada, yada, control questions, etc. You see, I was just like a polygrapher at that time. And then the CVSA reports. And so the judge says, Detective McDonough, your form, where did you get those forms? I said, Your Honor, they're department forms. Well, they have Miranda. You see it's all scratched out here?
Hmm.
Well, they have Miranda in the middle of it, okay? And that's not how you read Miranda. I said, Your Honor, that's all we have. That's the form that the department told me to use and that I use. Oh, well, that's not a good Miranda. So I'm going to suppress the statement. That's it.
That's why.
But then the judge, if you'll read the ruling, the judge says, however, and by the way, this is all truth, so people can't do anything about it. If Mr. Hauser takes the stand, you can use his statement to impeach him.
Yep.
Go figure.
Right. Exactly. So, it wasn't people say because it was this torturous thing, but that's not why the case got dropped. And by the way, they brought it back and said you can retry the case if you want. Correct?
That's correct. They've dismissed without prejudice. The only person that can refile that case is the district attorney.
Yes.
Summer Stephan was the lead DA at the time on the case. So she's the DA now in San Diego. So she's not going to file the case.
No.
She's not going to touch it. But one day, the case will be filed again. And, everybody will be out there screaming and hollering and, whatever.
Okay. Exactly. Well, I always like revisiting that, but because people just don't understand it. And it's one of the most ridiculous criticisms.
I have the whole case right here. Here's the whole case. Look at it right there. It says 187 Crow and lawsuit. Trust me, this old dog doesn't throw anything away.
An accordion file?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
John knows me he knows me. I don't throw anything away. That's how I won my cases.
Yeah, you hang on to everything. The interesting thing about it, the Crow case, is that it has, to draw an analogy, it's like a ship's bottom that's picked up all sorts of barnacles that have absolutely nothing to do with the actual ship's superstructure. And all of these barnacles that have grafted themselves onto the event have created a mythology that, it's torturous, and the poor boys, when none of that happened. But unfortunately, once it gets into social media and the internet, well, if you saw it on the internet, it must be true.
Look at John Ramsey tonight. That poor guy, okay, think about the power that social media has today, and just the media as a whole back then. Okay, if you think about the Crow case, that was 98. Within 2 months, I was standing over Matthew Checky's dead body. So 2 months earlier, I was the devil. You know, how dare this guy? How dare they be involved? All this other stuff, right? Okay. That all of this stuff, okay. And then 2 months later, I'm standing over another dead kid, and now I'm an angel.
Officer of the year.
Employee of the year for the entire city. Not just the department. I was the employee of the year for the city of Oceanside.
You framed kids for murder, and then in the same year, you got given the.
They made me officer of the year.
Huge bandwidth.
Unbelievable! Yeah. I've never seen such range.
Yeah, you know what? I could, but here's God knows what the truth is. He knew my heart, and I wasn't worried about, having to defend myself or prove myself up until the time when, the city manager said, we're settling this thing. And I'm like, well, no, I'm not settling anything. And they said, well, yeah, you are, because we're defending you. And what are you going to do at that point? I don't have $1 million in my pocket to hire attorney teams to go after Milt Silverman. Are you kidding me? Those people have no idea who that guy was. He's gone now, collecting his dues. But I couldn't, I couldn't handle it.
He's in the tanning salon.
In the tanning salon. And so I had, I had to do what I had to do. Right. And, but this case is the one that everybody, it's almost ironic because when I testified in a murder trial recently in Virginia of a little baby that was murdered, and the mother was on trial for killing the kid. And I was able to show that the child actually suffocated by a bib. The mom put the child in bed with a bib, and the bib came up and covered the child's mouth, and the child inhaled and killed and suffocated.
I remember that. And
I testified because I looked at the autopsy photos and I showed that, in fact, yeah, that's what happened. And I had four medical examiners behind me come and say, oh my gosh, that's what happened. And here's the crazy part about this. This mother finds her child non-responsive in her bedroom, takes this baby, rushes the child to the hospital. Okay. Her name is Katie, is the woman, and runs into the emergency room, and the baby has the bib around its neck when the child's brought in. Long story short, I'm going through the crime scene photos, and I said to one of the attorneys, I said, where's the bib? The bib. And they go, what bib? I said, the one right here in this picture. Where's that bib? And come to find out, the medical staff threw it away. Okay. So I went out, I got hold of Katie, and I said, where did you buy the bib? She goes, we bought it at Walmart. I said, okay. I went out and I found the exact bib. And we did a recreation and showed how the child, who was just learning how to roll over in her bed, had rolled over and inhaled, and the bib got caught up underneath her mouth. And there was a triangle right here from the weighted plastic on her above her lip. And I was able to take that bib and overlay it on her mouth. And I showed it in a presentation to 3 MEs. And I said, you guys tell me if a child can suffocate, if the child can't roll over and this bib is lodged partially in her mouth, because there was saliva on the bib, according to a test that they did do.
Crime scene management, though, that they threw that away. I mean, how
Yeah.
many times have you pulled stuff out of trash cans?
Oh, exactly.
ER rooms, yeah.
So we get hold of the lead investigator and say, hey, where's that bib? They go, what bib? Again, let me show you this one. You got the parents are running into the ER room on video with the child with the bib on. And the medical staff ended up putting it on a chair. They took photographs of it on the chair. And then somebody in the medical staff came by, threw it in a trash bag, and it went out into the ether. They arrested the mother for allegedly suffocating the child.
It's crazy.
Anyway, she was found not guilty. And I was like, there you go. I mean, that's what you do. That's the right thing on that one. Okay.
Of course.
Go.
Well,
Sorry.
no,
I didn't mean to drift off. I'm sorry.
There's not, what are you talking about? We're only a few minutes into the show. We got the rest of the show to talk about this interview, which is what we're going to do. But I always enjoy talking about the those cases, and I always think that it's proper that you defend yourself from people that try and put, taint you in a bad way. I don't see. I would do the same thing. I do the same thing. I'm crazier about it than you are. So,
And Josh, can I just respond to this comment here? I may someday write about what happened during that period. They want to know how I found my faith, but it's not something I'm prepared to share right now.
I want to talk about doing peyote in the desert at Joshua Tree.
Yeah, me and Carlos Castaneda. No, it was actually completely realigned my life, and I've only shared it with a few people, but I will someday probably share it with my readers.
All right. Very good. Well, we appreciate that. And once again, John's book is out, and great live show. Chris and John, will Bob be coming back for future shows? Yes, he will be. I talked to him just the other day. He sent his condolences about my father. We talked about the parole board, and so yes, he will be. I know that he was going through. I don't like when I start asking. I always feel bad about asking people on, so I try to space it out. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be like, I'm nagging, but he's always generous with his time, as are you guys. So I appreciate you guys being here. Let's get this thing going before the children in the audience crap their pants. I thought this was about the Nancy Guthrie case. It's like it's a couple hours show, guys. Hang in there.
I'm joined now by the Pima County Sheriff, Chris Nanos, to discuss the state of...
Chris, by the way, do you have your soundbite ready?
Know all the things we know, and we still need to know what you know, because there's something out there that we don't know.
The investigation.
Like how to tie your shoe.
Exactly.
Thanks so much for joining us, sir. I know how busy you are, and so really appreciate it.
This is a good kid, man. He's got skill.
I mean, I haven't seen this. I'm really looking forward to it.
I want to start out, obviously, with a generic question, and that is, this Saturday marks the 6-month mark into this investigation, August the 1st. Are we any closer to figuring out kind of the main suspects here, or just getting, closer to finding out what the state of this investigation could potentially become? And how frustrating is it to, be this far into the investigation and seemingly not having the answers that you're looking for?
So that's more than one question.
Bada.
Yeah.
Wing.
So that's more than one. Did you hear him? So that's
Yeah.
more than one question.
Yeah. This is
Boy,
what we call in the
I
industry.
didn't order fries with this drink.
He said, I know how busy you are. You just got back from the gym.
Yeah. Look at it. Oh, man, I'm about ready to get whipped by a 17-year-old.
I love that.
One, are we closer? I think every day we're closer only because we have a lot of work ahead of us in terms of lab work, scientific work with DNA, working with not just our lab or the FBI lab, but labs across the country. All of these labs work together. They're sharing information.
This is great. One thing I did notice, I've watched this already, so I've, spoiler alert. I'm not going to spoil it for John, but this kid's got a natural skill. You'll notice how when Nanos is talking, he looks down and like he's not even paying attention to him. Narcissists hate that. They hate that. Watch. Watch him.
They're trying their best to find a way to get the science to work, to put together a variety of different pieces of DNA evidence to come up with a suspect. That process, just last week we had a trial here where an individual was convicted of a homicide. It was a gruesome homicide in a very remote area of Pima County. And in less than 24 hours, we had 3 arrests made. The case was solved, and he's been prosecuted and
what does that have to do with this case?
It's filibuster.
But those kinds of cases are rare. I mean, we're a very large metropolitan area, and we have over 1 million people, 7th largest county, and this agency's team, our homicide team, works hard every day. And they were able to put together a case that quick. However, we also have—
What the hell does he mean by labs across the country? How many labs are involved here?
You're gonna miss a big piece here, though, too.
Well, the dude is vamping.
What's that?
He's vamping.
He's something.
This is like Science Theater 3000.
Yeah, exactly. I get to be Crow T Robot.
Yeah, I want to be.
Why would he do this? Like, why? I'm not. Nothing. This has nothing to do with the young man that is doing this. And I've heard nothing but great things about him, and I could already tell that he's locked in here. But why would Nanos agree? Is this because of what Savannah said the other day, like her statement? So is this his response to that? Because she basically publicly said, look, hey, we're still in the same position that we were this many months ago. So he thinks that he would try and dunk on a young man with an interview. It's really ridiculous.
Our homicide team works hard every day. And they were able to put together a case that quick. However, we also have what we know as our cold case unit. And cold case teams are all across the country for a reason. It's because we don't let cases just go cold and not continue to work them. The question was asked of me, is this case cold? It is not cold. We have a lot of evidence that, like I say, our scientific labs are working. There's video evidence that we continue to work with, not just labs, but also some private corporations who have graciously given their time to help look at some of the video evidence and see if we can't piece things together.
Right.
And of course, there's literally thousands of tips that come in. Certainly, they're not coming in at the rate they were initially, but we still get them. In fact, I was just on an email with someone from Ireland who had a tip.
Okay.
All of these things are sent to the Guthrie Task Force, which consists of several of my detectives and several local FBI agents. So, yeah, I get the frustration.
Right.
But it's not so much my frustration as it is the community. And I understand that the community wants to know everything. This isn't TV. This is real life.
Of course.
in an hour's time, there's not a commercial break and we've got it solved.
Yeah.
We continue to work this case every day, and we work it hard. And so I feel confident that it's moving along, that we'll get some resolution.
He's taking tips from Ireland, but he's not having search parties.
Well, wait a minute. That makes no sense anyway. First of all, why is he answering tips? He just said, yeah, I was on an email from Ireland. No, you weren't, you clown.
There's no way.
You got a task force allegedly working.
Why would you be doing it?
Yeah, why are you in the middle of the investigation if you're answering emails about a tip?
Yeah, somebody sending you from probably a pub in Dublin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know. I'll call
Hey, Bobby.
Nanos
Bobby,
up.
yeah, I got one for you. Yeah. Let's hit Nanos.
There's a difference between a tip from Ireland and getting
Tommy Robinson. Hit him up, bud.
getting
Tom,
a call.
get in here. We need you.
Chris, there's a difference between getting a tip from Ireland and getting a call from somebody at an Irish pub. I mean, it's not
But
Unbelievable.
unfortunately, those things just sometimes take time.
You mentioned the cold cases unit and the amount of leads that you've been receiving and how they have slowed down a little
he doesn't care. He's like, come on, let's move on.
bit from the beginning of the investigation. I want to kind of follow up on that and just ask you, I know it's hard for you to quantify that, but to what extent are you willing to say that
He doesn't know what quantify means.
they have slowed to a trickle? You know, they have slowed down, and has that made it perhaps harder to kind of get to a good
that's a smart
quality
kid.
lead, or if you have
That
fewer,
turned my
does
good
that
ear.
perhaps mean they are of greater quality?
No, I think that, like any crime, you first get it, you put it out there, everybody's attentive and they're calling in and they're giving you tips. But as time goes on, those tips do shrink. The volume lessens, and I don't think it's because there's apathy or we just don't know. I think it's because people have given us their information and they're moving on. Those tips, because I got a tip on February 2nd and we couldn't make heads or tails out of it, doesn't mean it's just dismissed.
Right.
It's something that's cataloged and put aside. And as other tips come in, they're compared with one another. Maybe we've got a piece of evidence that can relate back to a tip. Cell phone downloads might get us something. There's all kinds of information on this case. And when the public slows down their calls, I don't think it's because they don't care. I think it's they've answered us. I think we had a plea from Savannah yesterday, and we share those sentiments.
Stop, Josh. Two things. Cell phone downloads may give us things.
Whose cell phones were seized, Chris?
I don't know, John. What?
I know.
And then I think Savannah did something yesterday. Well, if you're, let's see here. You're the guy who says you're in, following along the bouncing ball here. And you're also going to say, you're not really sure that,
know all the things we know, and we still need to know what you know, because there's something out there that we don't know.
Okay. I'm with you.
By the way, so this is just my theory and my opinion. He has to say this. He has to say that this case is active and they still have a lot of work to do, even if they're at the end of the road with this, because that's the only way he thinks he could possibly get reelected. That's it.
Yeah, this is what he's attempting to run the clock out,
Correct.
as it's known in football. He's trying to run the clock out, and I'm certain as we get closer to an election, the promises that we're right on the verge of, and you'll notice he's not using words like we're ready to make an arrest. It's like, well, we're going to make some headway.
Well, and I think he's dragging it out because his package is sitting at the AG's office.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he's trying to run the clock out. That's exactly what he's trying to do. He wants to be reelected. He wants to be important
Well,
enough.
he can't be indicted, Josh, if he's got all this work to do.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I got DNA to check on. I'm running this investigation. I'm getting leads from Ireland and I'm answering emails and, by golly.
And have you noticed something about when he talks, when he's seriously into the verbal diarrhea? I mean, there's no other way to describe it.
Yeah.
His head is negating what he's saying. Watch so often.
He's shaking his
when
hand.
you see him shaking his head like this.
Good point.
You're going to have the haters, right? Haters are going to hate.
Yeah, exactly. And even this young man who's done a brilliant job, by the way, is going, wow.
Somebody in the audience said, how long into this interview do you think that Nanos is regretting this? And so we're 5 minutes and 32 seconds in. I probably around, I don't know, 40 seconds in, he's probably regretting this already. I mean, he's only doing this because he has to, because Savannah spoke out. That's why he's doing this. And he chose this young man, and I'm glad that he did, and I'm glad that this kid. Yeah, I'm going to call him a young man because he's locked in. Look at this kid. Look at this young man, locked in.
Yeah, totally. But to your point, Josh. Okay, let's give him the Nanos. Let's make sure it's accurate reporting.
Okay.
Savannah did something.
He's not sure what.
Yeah, exactly. So Savannah did something, but then again, what will we expect? He's already acknowledged that he's no longer speaking to the family, which seems a peculiar stance for the head law enforcement officer of the county in charge of apparently involved day to day with this task force.
And by the way, if you want to watch this full interview uninterrupted, I'll put the link into the chat. We're here to make commentary, and we will gladly promote this young man's channel.
Yeah,
and good. I'm telling, look at him. He looks like a young. What is that? What is the guy from Florida? What is this? The Florida guy. He's really good too. He did the Gabby Petito. Bruno, I can't remember, but he reminds me of a young.
I would, Josh, like to make a suggestion to the sheriff, okay? Because I'm a helpful guy. So what you need to do is this, Sheriff. If you get 40 seconds into an interview like this and discover that you've made a mistake, you have to have a plan in advance, and that's where you have a note that you shove to the other person in the room that says, go in the other room and call me with an emergency. The phone rings.
Nick Shirley.
I have to take this.
Yeah,
it's an emergency. I have to wrap this up.
Yep.
I'm just a helpful guy.
Bar tabs do.
Yeah.
The toilet's overflowing. I gotta go.
Somebody out
there. Hey, last call.
We know that. We want that person to call us. And so we continuously say, if you know something, call the FBI hotline, call the Sheriff's Department tips line, but call.
Yeah. You mentioned Savannah. Have you spoken to her recently?
Yeah. Call Roto-Rooter.
Yeah, thanks, bud.
You got a clog.
She released that video yesterday.
No, it's not Brian Enton. It's JB Bruno or whatever his name is. I know who.
Just Bruno.
And I think a lot of people are probably wondering what the status is of the relationship.
This is an important question.
Yeah. You mentioned Savannah. Have you spoken to her recently? She released that video yesterday, and I think a lot of people are probably wondering what the status is of the relationship between your office and the family.
Well, our relationship is a good relationship. I mean, these are tough times. But no, I have not spoken with Savannah recently. She has my contact number, as you and the rest of the world seems to have. But she's very gracious. And she doesn't need to contact the sheriff. She needs a team that she's very well aware of that works with her, and she's in contact with them at any moment of day, any time of day that she needs to.
You also mentioned,
as is the rest of the family.
of course, you also mentioned the task force in one of your previous answers.
That was a weird answer.
Well, it was a weird answer, but I for the life of me, still cannot not understand why Sheriff Nanos is not talking with the family. I mean, it makes no sense. He cleared him.
Yeah, basically saying they got my number.
Yeah, $100 on black.
They have my number. Call me if you need me. Oh, hey, our mother is missing, so we do.
But what was interesting about that is, right, the question was, are you talking to Savannah, i.e. the family? And he segregated the family into parts.
Yeah.
The others were an afterthought, a decided afterthought.
Yeah. And as the rest of the family. Well, a family is a family. And in a normal investigation, you don't cut off communication with the family. No. You say, well, I'm not in direct contact. However, one of my detectives is.
Yeah. Right.
In this, well, she's got my number. She can call me anytime, Really?
Yeah.
But it even goes beyond that, Chris. Then he goes on to make a smart aleck remark as does you and the rest of the world, apparently. You're an elected official, Nads. Of course people have your information.
You tell us kind of the status of that task force, how many members from the FBI, how many members from your office, and kind of how that has contributed to the investigation.
Well, so there's a core task force here. The FBI has task force all across the country.
Right.
Stop.
And here we go again.
I knew it.
Okay, for $19.99, you can get yourself a waterbed. It's got a headboard, footboard, mattress, liner, heater, strips, deck boards, and you get an algae with it too. Algicide, okay? All right, here comes the Ginzu sale at the Del Mar Fair. Okay, line them up, line them up, line them up, line them up. Everybody.
Order now and you'll get two for the price of one.
Know all the things we know, and we still need to know what you know, because there's something out there that we don't know.
Thank you,
Task Force, a violent crime task force for decades. This task force for the Guthrie case consists of a handful of detectives from my agency and a sergeant lieutenant and the chain of command, as well as several agents here locally. That task force, that core group, works together, and as information comes in, it may be something that requires attention from, say, Washington. Maybe it's, hey, you this piece of digital evidence, we know that you guys have a team that's good at that. Can you send it out? And they'll send it there. Just as there may be some local pieces of information that the FBI here says, hey, we need to go and find this person and interview them. So it does this in terms of its growth in that. But the core membership has been there from.
What does this mean? It does. Did he learn that at the FBI Academy?
Hey, he's putting flares down on the road.
Oh, okay. There we go.
All right, guys. Wait. Okay. Put a couple of flares over here, a couple over there. Put one over there. Yeah. Whoa.
He did not answer a single question. He's well, I got a handful of detectives, and then they're FBI agents, and well, then they do this, and then that's not the answer. That's not the question that was asked.
Right. And this is how this would play out, right? From Ronco, $29.95. Call right now, and I'll knock another $10 off with an extra task force.
Billy Mays here.
Yeah. One.
ShamWow.
Continue to meet daily.
Just for kind of a direct comparison from the beginning of the investigation, has it grown or shrunk again from the beginning period?
Oh, I think day one, it was the task force, the FBI Violent Crime Task Force, which we're a member of. right there at the scene. The membership were there. Our team was there.
Membership
a
were
lot
there.
was said from, I guess, Director Patel about how we delayed contacting them. I just think he's misinformed and doesn't understand that that evening when this event was actually the afternoon of the first one.
You know what would be really interesting? I would have loved to have been the detective sitting in the room if this guy was in custody. I would just let him run. Just like John, what do you think? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's funny because this young man is a very good, he's already got the #1 rule of interviewing down. Let him talk.
That's right. Let him run.
Let him run.
Learned of it.
Yeah.
Our detectives were called in after our search and rescue team recognized what they had, contacted our investigative teams. They immediately contacted the Violent Crime Task Force, and their representatives were there. They processed that scene early the next day, the very next day, within hours of that scene processing. I held a press conference. I think.
Okay, so let's stop there because that's important because he's got a fuzzy little problem here.
Yeah.
What he just said was, if what he says is true, which is concerning, I know for a fact that the homicide guys got there at 2:00, 1400. All right.
Yeah.
So, all right. So what he's saying is the search and rescue team got there, and what he's inferring is that the patrol guy or the patrol deputy says, "Hey, we need search and rescue," because why?
Because it's a walk away. It's the inference.
It's a walk away. But now you have a counter argument to that with Savannah going, no, this is not a walk away. She would not, this is blah, blah, blah. Okay. So the search and rescue team says, hey, we need the crimes of violence people here. This looks like a crime. Well, I don't know what would have been the clue.
I don't know. Maybe the blood on the porch.
Yes,
I'm going to go out on a limb on that.
I know. Don't go too far, John. Don't go too far. You and I have been friends for too many years.
It's going to
I don't know about you, but sounds like somebody was passing out coupons for Happy Meals. Okay, and something was not lining up here. And it's still not lining up because who does he say shows up? Well, the Violent Crime Task Force, the gang guys, and the violent. John, you're on a crime scene. You've been on a couple of them. You know what, John? I think we need the Violent Crime Task Force here tonight. What do you think?
Actually, probably no. We're perfectly capable of handling it ourselves. And let's get to work. And in fact, even if we buy into his schedule that he's offering, once you've got your CSIs on scene, you're processing the scene because the clock is ticking. You may lose valuable evidence. You're not going to wait for an FBI violent crime task force to show up because it's the weekend. They're not going to show up instantaneously. You're talking about likely at a minimum, it's going to take some members an hour to get there, probably more than that.
So didn't they just have a shooting?
Yes.
Did the Violent Crimes Task Force show up?
I don't know, but probably not.
Yeah. So this is what he's doing here is he's selling, crates of strawberries that look great on top, but they're all mushy on the bottom.
Yeah, he's offering a theory that doesn't make sense if we place ourselves back on the day when the discovery is made and officers are there. There is nothing on the day that the report is made that would lead investigators to say, by gum, we need the FBI Violent Crime Task Force here. This is the whole reason why you've called your own homicide investigators out and your CSI. It just, You're right. What he is doing is he's throwing chaff in the air, and chaff is what's used to obscure radar images.
So he's used to adapting his conversations based on the information that he hears. So everybody criticized, i.e., Kash Patel said we were kept out for 4 days. So what does he do? He's putting Kash Patel there day one, quote unquote. Okay. The task force apparently is equals the FBI being on scene. Which is a bunch of baloney. Yeah.
Well, Chris, you and I just watched the video of the FBI showing up and when the FBI was everywhere, but that was 4 days after the investigation started, where the scene had already been released once, maybe twice by that time. I cannot remember if it might've been twice already, but then they came in and resealed the scene. I'll never ever forget that when I first heard that they had released the crime scene.
Yeah. The second press conference, okay, the first one was out in front of the house where, No Nads here stood out there and said 11 a.m. And then the second press conference was in the morning. Remember, you had Officer Friendless, Sergeant Friendless, standing in the back who's never worked a murder. And he goes, be nice to my guy back here. He's been up all night. Okay. Well, here's a question, Sheriff. Where was the FBI in that press conference? Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. It was the third one they showed up a couple of days later. So right here, what he's doing again to the national public, and another reason why the AG's office needs to get rid of this guy, is he's not telling the truth. Period. I mean, it's as clear as day. Because anybody right now can go and watch the sequences of the press conferences. He's saying the FBI was there. Well, where? Because you notice what he's going to do. He's going to jump right to the third press conference in this statement. He's going to skip
the other two terrible ones.
Yeah,
he looks like in this freeze frame, he looks like he's having an episode.
Yeah, maybe his depends are tight. I'm not sure what's going on with him.
The thing is, Chris, it's also possible that he actually believes what he's saying.
I agree.
The line from Seinfeld. Well, it's not a lie if you actually believe it. It's whatever he is saying at the moment. He may very well believe is true, which I find disturbing for somebody to be in charge of a large law enforcement agency like that. Or it's just simply that he's not. The Nancy Guthrie case is his worst nightmare.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
He has demonstrated the Peter principle here, which is he is ill-equipped to A, run a homicide investigation, and B, interact with the media.
That's what you're spot on, John. He hates this case. Hates it.
Oh yeah.
It has messed up the flow of his wonderful life. Hanging out, running the kangaroo court, sheriff's office, punishment.
He's been the king. You know what he's like, and I'm going to borrow a line from an old. His name is Tom Lehrer, and some of your viewers may know him. He's like a Christian Scientist with appendicitis. He doesn't know what to do. So I can't claim credit for that line, but Tom Lehrer had wonderful songs from the 50s and 60s. But this is the situation he's in.
Yeah, he's stuck. He is stuck.
Video of it where myself and
I've said this before, I'll say it again. The worst thing that ever happened in this guy's career was Nancy Guthrie went missing.
Mm-hmm. Special agent in charge from Phoenix and the agent in charge from Tucson are right there on stage with me to
Right.
answer any questions. So the concept
see,
or the
okay, right there, he just lied.
And there's the third press conference
That's
that
the
he's
third press
he's trying to sell us the first press conference.
That's right. That's exactly right. Hey, how come this tire? Why are these tires leaking? Oh, just give it a run. Don't worry about it. Yeah, but the muffler's hanging off. What muffler? Where? Oh, don't worry about it. Give it a run, bud. Give it a run. Ah, geez. Remember the lady in Monsters Inc. Good seeing you. You know, when they go to check out all their gas, you know, we scream because we care, or what was the old saying?
I can't remember. I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember the specific.
Care. We scream because we care, right? Check out your gas canister.
Yeah.
All he's doing is filling his gas canister.
the representation that the FBI was held off, and boy, we wish we'd have been there early on. That's just not even accurate. They were there day one,
And that's just not true. That's not true.
just as my team was.
There was a liaison, but that was the liaison from his department, the liaison to the FBI, but the FBI was not there.
Correct.
No, that's true.
Just to follow up on that, because you're referencing Kash Patel's appearance on Fox News, where he had said that if the FBI had been brought in earlier, there could have been more video discovered. I'm wondering kind of more directly what your response is to that and what the status of your relationship is with specifically the FBI director.
Well, I don't know the FBI director, never met him. So my relationship is what we
My
see
staff
here,
has,
as you do.
right.
In a RICO investigation.
Yeah.
We've been under investigation by them, but we don't know them personally.
But just being does being
Cash?
under investigation mean a relationship?
Yeah. Oh, come on. Yeah. Yeah. Really?
It's sort of like Tony Soprano's relationship with the FBI. We know
This is the part where he leans over and goes, "Hey, are those mixed nuts?"
On the news, but that's fine. He's a busy man. He's got a big job.
He's a busy man. He's a busy man. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, he only
just
flies
as I
on
do.
jets. Had one
What's
standing
more
by.
important is
He's a busy man.
what is my relationship, and more important than that, my team's relationship with the local FBI office here that we work with every day on all kinds of cases. It's a great relationship. Look, Director Patel, he has information flow to him from across the world, probably. Just as I get information, I've got 1,500 employees, and it gets up
Let's
to
stop for a second. Hang on.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is how this plays out. Ring. Yeah. Oh, hey, Senator Kelly, how are you? Yeah, yeah. Who? Patel? Who's that? Click. Can you bring some donuts?
What kind? Like a fritter? Apple fritter?
Remember? I mean, can you honestly, can he, the scary part is he's doing it with a straight face.
Oh, that is kind of scary, to be honest with you. He's not even goofing a little.
No. I mean, even this young reporter's going, okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. They need to send a Waymo and pick this guy up and take him to the loony bin.
Look at the kid. Look at the smirk on the young man's face.
He knows he's got it.
That is a smirk.
He owns this.
Job, man.
He owns this interview.
This is his white Bronco moment.
Gotta love it.
Sometimes that information is filtered. It's not with any kind of ill intent or anything. It just happens. So I think that Kash, Director Patel, heard information.
I'll call him by his first name, but I don't know him.
Yeah. Cash, my homie Cash.
Just was inaccurate, and He certainly doesn't owe me an explanation or a question or anything. He's
Well,
the director of the
everyone's been
FBI.
waiting for that, and I'm betting you call him something else when you're not on television.
He said he doesn't owe me anything, but which is good because I don't think that one was coming his way.
Yeah, yeah. Don't wait up.
Don't miss your workout.
But when the information is put out there that's not accurate, I think it helps.
Accurate.
It hurts the case.
Accurate.
Imagine not being able to say the word accurate.
Well, I can't criticize him for that too much because I have a little speech problem every once in a while.
You have a minor lisp.
Well, yeah, and it came after the minor stroke that I had. So,
True.
So
it's all connected.
individuals like yourself to come out and ask for accurate information from me, I never have a problem answering.
And we
I drive
appreciate you
an
doing
accurate.
so. I want to switch
What
gears
kind of
a little
car
bit
you
to
drive?
some of
I
the
drive an accurate.
I drive an accurate, bro.
physical evidence, and I know you're going to be limited as to what you can say on this front. There's been a report that the back door and the back gate were propped open, reportedly with flower pots. Was that true? And if so, was that done for the intruder to make some kind of a faster exit?
Oops.
So, again, a couple of questions there. First of all,
So answer them.
you're right.
That's a
can't
very
talk to the
nervous laugh,
scene
by
or
the way.
what's there.
I'm not going
I
to
know
talk
that's
about the
frustrating
scene.
for
It's not
Yeah.
frustrating.
Somebody said he drives a Honda accurate.
everybody. I try to be
It's
as
understandable, I will
transparent
say.
with my media as I can and
Mhm.
my community, but we do have to protect some of the integrity of the investigation. If
Okay,
that
stop.
was the case,
What is so important about the back doors being propped open with flower pots? That it would be integral to the investigation.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think I think the reason he's not wanting to comment on it is because it came from Savannah and not him.
Well,
Are
that
we
could
sure?
be it, or it's all, I mean, now he was willing to come out and clear the family. So he has some apparently sliding standard of his willingness to reveal information about the investigation. I think that the reason why he doesn't want to talk about it is that he doesn't want to get into any discussion of the scene because he probably either doesn't remember it or is fearful of saying something that will later be rammed back down his throat.
Yeah, it's a good point.
or why that happened or anything, that's all speculative, and we don't get into that. We investigate it, gather all the facts, put together a team, and try to work it from
Good.
there.
Gather the facts. That's really.
There's
that's
also
key.
been, again, I know you might have
Standard, right? Standard operating procedure.
Because and I admire this man because it never occurred to us when we went to crime scene that we'd want to gather a team and gather the facts. This is insipid. This is just insulting.
the same answer here, but just in terms of the blood patterns, both inside and outside of the house, not necessarily am I asking you to confirm where the blood was, because I know you probably can't get into that, but did the location of the blood help your investigation in determining perhaps, where she was taken to, or again, just anything that you can tell us there?
Again, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm not going to talk about the actual scene or anything of any of the location of evidence that was obtained. Again, my apologies, but I just
No
can't.
problem. No problem. Again, very understandable. 5 months ago with Elizabeth Vargas, you had said, and this is kind of, I think, it's the uncomfortable and unfortunate question but I think it has to be asked. And that was, again, 5 months ago with Elizabeth Vargas on News Nation, you said you believe that Nancy Guthrie was still alive. I haven't seen you, directly answer that recently. Can you tell us kind of what your analysis would be on that front right now?
It's a question that I'm asked often.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my answer to you
It's a question I answer never.
would simply be this.
It's a question I'm asked often and a question I never answer.
And the reason why you're asked it often is that you don't answer the question.
Yeah,
Well, he actually says
cause and effect.
what he actually said was, when I swim with the dolphins, I
understand why people would say she's dead.
Yeah.
I get that. But
I
what's
get
the benefit in my believing she's dead when there's no proof of her death in front of me? I understand the investigation, all the thoughts of her whereabouts. Everybody has a right to have an opinion and voice it. But as the sheriff of Pima County, as the head of the law enforcement here in this community, what is the benefit of the sheriff saying she's dead?
Yeah,
If the family believes that there's hope, that there's some chance that she might still be with us, why should I crush that hope?
Right.
There's no evidence to
wait
show
a minute. He's got a responsibility to be 1000% clear with the family
And honest.
and say to the family, look, there's a high probability your mother's not with us. And that's how you answer that question. You don't say that she's dead. You tell the family, right? Because what he's doing there is he's giving the family false hope. Because if she is dead, because the next sentence that he's going to get into is the graveyard. Listen to this.
Trust me, if we find something that indicates a burial site or something of that nature, absolutely, we're going to share that. That's critical. But we're going to share it with the family. And so my personal
How's he going to do that? He doesn't talk to him.
beliefs, really, that's what they are. I believe that I'm going to support the Guthrie family every way possible. And if they believe she's alive, so do I.
In terms of
to your point, Josh, one way I'm going to do that is Savannah has my number. She can call me anytime she wants. I'm not going to keep her up to date on the flow of the investigation because I've cleared them. So anytime she wants to call me, she can call me. But until then, I'm going to keep them in the dark because she's got her own team and they can figure it out themselves. That's essentially the messaging.
Yeah.
And if you order that package right now, I'm going to throw in the Zippy fan, okay, for $19.95. But you only have 22 minutes to call, and it's clicking down right now. 22-1. Here we go.
And that goes along with the free Happy Meal tickets that there was passed out.
Remember Napoleon Dynamite where she leans over and he goes, if you buy the 24 piece right now, okay, we're going to throw in the ship. And he takes it out of the box and she goes, I want that.
Yeah, badly.
DNA, standard DNA testing, obviously it varies in terms of how long it takes. You said recently, though, that you still have a lot of DNA to go through and kind of assess the validity of it, if you will. Is the holdup now that it is forensic familial genealogy and you're kind of trying to, tick them off in kind of a family tree type setting to eliminate members of the family? Or I know you've said to an extent that all of them have been cleared. But the way that the Golden State Killer case was worked, for example, is there any comparisons from this case to that one?
So the DNA, first of all, I am no expert.
Hey, newsflash.
And not really about DNA.
And by the way, all of this, okay?
Covering his mouth.
All of that is deception. And what it does also, it's buying him time to think about how he's going to answer that question. He was not prepared for that question in any way, shape, or form. He didn't go into this interview anticipating a really good, young man like this to throw a fastball inside.
Yeah, look at his eyes when the question is
finished. Back it up.
He is. I mean, we are talking about deer in the headlights.
Look at that right there. Look at, he's leaning in. Okay, he's got his hand covered like that. If John and I were sitting in the interview and John was talking, I'd just be taking notes right now.
Because part of the moving forward is also it's an artifice to try and create some sense of I'm telling you the truth. I'm leaning closer,
and I'm giving such great thought to your question. By the way, listen to this breaking news really quick. Hold on.
The DNA.
Here, it's right here.
First of all, I am no expert.
Okay, breaking news.
You know, you need to put a warning in.
That's going on the soundboard.
I started 20 years ago. It was just breaking out. My team is way above me in discussing that with me. They just get it and they understand it. And that makes me feel pretty comfortable in knowing the right people are working this case. But more important than just my investigators, it is the lab. Those are the scientists. And they have
Wait a minute.
rules.
John and I spent forever. I spent a couple of weekends doing this. I didn't know crap about DNA until I got the lab report. And I picked up the phone. I called the criminalist and said, "Hey, Doc, can you explain this stuff? What's going on here?"
Yeah, in fourth grade English.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Yeah.
Break it down for me, would you? I mean, here he's like, "I'm glad I got a staff that knows this stuff." Okay. And I'm glad they're on the team. So tell us the results.
Are they not passing the information to you?
Apparently not. He doesn't have that knowledge. And
It's just like courts. We have rules and procedures and policies we have to follow to keep the investigation credible. Labs are no different. They have their rules of science that they have to go through. So I think what you were asking is, are we at familial type of DNA, not just our genetic DNA?
Yeah.
Are we doing something to find maybe it's the second cousin that?
Yeah.
What I would tell you is both. We're doing all of it. And that's really the labs are doing it all. They're looking at genealogy, but they're also looking at specific pieces of evidence.
And this is where so he's once again, in my humble opinion, passing the buck again. So he's in charge of this investigation. He'll do an interview for this investigation, but he's not doing the work for the investigation, and he doesn't know the work that's going in to the investigation. So this, to me, is nothing more than a political tactic, him trying to save a career from being completely tarnished by the end of his term here, which I don't know what his chances are of being reelected, but he won an election by like less than 400 votes before this happened. So I can't imagine he's going to be the front runner in the next election. And that's what he's trying to do here, because this is everybody else is working on this case. Everybody else is in charge of this case except for him. But he'll give you an interview about the case and tell you nothing about it.
That's why the AG's office getting emails saying indict this guy is so incredible, because here's what's going to happen. If the AG makes a decision, by the way, now remember, the Board of Supervisors has sent a criminal complaint to the Attorney General's office in Arizona alleging that he perjured himself for the job of sheriff by saying he had never, ever been in trouble prior to coming to the position in Arizona. That we know now unequivocally is false. He was given an opportunity to resign in El Paso, Texas, for beating a prisoner who was handcuffed with a flashlight, putting that individual into the ICU, intensive care unit, in the local hospital. He was brought up on an indictment. They wanted to put him in prison. Let's think about that. All right. So if the AG right now in Arizona says, you know what, we're going to indict this guy, finally, guess what? They now can remove him from the position. And guess what else is going to happen? All of his minions, the number 2, who was also almost indicted, who changed his name, he's going to follow because he's not going to hang around with the new sheriff coming in town. Guess what else is going to happen? The next guy, Navarro, the captain over CID, who, by the way, just ordered a guy the other day to get a search warrant without probable cause. And the deputy refused to do it. So guess what happened? That guy's on suspension. Go look at the Pima County Deputies Association tweet about that deputy who was suspended because he did the right thing. All of these minions at the command staff are going to fall like dominoes. And here's the good news. Anybody that wants to defend that, you're welcome to defend it, okay? Even ex-cops or ex-FBI agents, all of you are welcome to defend it. I, for one, will not sell my soul to the devil. I won't do it. All right? That said, here's the good news. If he falls, Nancy Guthrie's case has a chance in trial. Because now the defense is not going to call this guy and put him on the stand because he could be a convicted felon at that point. And that's a credibility issue. So if whoever the suspect is in custody, well, right now, if he's the sheriff, if I was the defense, my defense strategy would be, let's start with this guy and let's lay it all out. Right, John?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's lay it all out. Okay. If he's out of the picture and a new sheriff comes in, and that guy now can say, well, that wasn't my problem. That was that guy's problem. Here's what we did when he was gone. Now you got a chance of putting a clean case on in front of a jury. You get rid of all the noise. That's what he is. He's just noise. That's just my 2
But
cents.
it's that they're hoping to get enough Kodai to say, this is who we're looking at.
And again, to your earlier comment about how you do still have a lot of DNA to progress through, are you able to quantify that at all as to how long it might take to get through the DNA that investigators and those on the scene have pulled?
Not really, not me. The labs may, but I think the labs, this science is so fast, all science, today's world, so fast moving.
Of course.
And they are looking at some pretty cool stuff out there, if you will, about DNA and how it can be used, not in just these cases, but in other scientific genealogy cases. So they're careful, as they should be. Absolutely nobody wants to arrest the wrong person. And so we have those, if you will, parameters that say, here's the guidelines. And we have to trust our labs to know those guidelines and not to push them, to allow them to do their job and come back to us and say, we think we're here and we need to be over here.
Right.
Can you do this for us? Can you get us this? Is there any chance of this? It's probably more complex than we want to get into, but I'll say this.
And there goes the hand from the mouth again.
Labs is ongoing. It's daily. They know the technology. They know that, for example, a lab in Kansas might be on the verge of something new, groundbreaking over here, where there's a lab in LA that's on the groundbreaking of, they're just working the case as a priority, and they're working it nationwide.
There was a reporter who recently read one of the notes, ransom notes that was on the record, and it referenced something to the effect of outside of Tucson. Setting aside the notes, obviously, the side that the FBI is handling, do you believe the person responsible for this could still very well be in the Tucson area?
Oh, absolutely. Could be. Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
we constantly talk about,
I like it, I guess he sort of gives an answer here, but it always reminds me. So yeah, it could be, it could not be. I had a kid work for me one time when I went to the sporting goods store, and a dad came up to him. He had a baseball mitt, and he says, "Do you think this will fit my son?" And he looks at the mitt and he goes, "It could, it could not." I said, "What the hell does that mean?" Could, it could not.
Know all the things we know,
Exactly.
and we still need to know what you know, because there's something out there that we don't know.
Thanks, bud.
Beautiful.
we've got the same information you have, that the cartels took her, or somebody in New York has her, or where we hear that. I think the key for you to understand there is all of this information that's out there, we take it all very seriously.
Yeah.
And we have to, and we investigate every single lead.
He takes it very seriously, but he tells the prime reporters locally right after she goes missing to give it a rest
until we can't follow it any further, or until we can and this adds to the frustration.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk of ransom notes, look at the number of ransom notes that have come in and led to arrest for fraud, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame, but that people want to do that.
Stop. Yeah. Hang on for a minute. I got to call them. Hello, Sheriff. Yeah.
Nice phone you have there.
Hey, this is Maxwell Smart talking on my shoe phone.
That's a big ass phone.
Yeah. Okay. Electric grass. Remember, Max? Aha. Just as I thought. Rubber garbage.
It's time to comb the beach.
I mean, you cannot make this stuff up. Listening to this guy, you can't make it up. He is going to be, there is going to be more shtick on him at Saturday Night Live one day. He's going to be a character on Saturday Night Live one day. The Nanos effect.
You're going to have the haters, right? Haters are going to hate.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but there's no need in giving him more ammunition, Chris.
I know.
He's the one doing it.
Yeah.
Or try to take advantage of a system. And it's also a shame that we have to
First of all, Colella didn't even send a note. He sent a text message. The question was about ransom notes, and he's tying into Colella about, that guy got arrested for sending notes. Well, here's a call. Wait a minute. Max has got to call him again. Hey, Sheriff, you're wrong again. But that's okay. You already know that.
He knows.
Okay. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
It's something. I mean,
seriously.
Unfortunately, this is what all too often rises to the top in law enforcement agencies. Carnivals, sideshow barkers. It's sad. And I would just ask your members out there, imagine working for someone like that.
We're going to
probably just be hell.
Try to figure out.
You'd be a seasoned detective, and you'd get stuck on phone duty.
I got work. I very briefly, when I was a patrol sergeant, we had a staff meeting, and there was a lieutenant that was a future Sheriff Nanos, and he had the whole shtick, the whole razzmatazz down pat, and he put together an operation that at the staff meeting he announced had been an unqualified success. well, like Chris, I come with receipts. And I said, well, actually, our Part 1 crimes are up in that district. So what is it that you're using to measure success if violent crime and felony crime is up? And he said, that may be the reality, Sergeant Lamb, but I don't choose to look at it that way. And I said, I'm not attempting to be rude, sir, but do you understand that you have just identified yourself as either being mentally ill or gravely disabled, that you are refusing to operate in consensus reality? This might explain to your viewers why it is that my terminal rank was sergeant. But you deal with people who live in this universe that they have created of BS, and they expect the underlings to go along with it. And you're seeing it right here.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right about that.
But it's part of it. It really is. And so every time somebody calls in with a ransom note, they need to know we're going to investigate it to its fullest. And should we find you, you will be charged and held accountable. I think a young man in California recently got sentenced 10 years or something like that. Just look, don't do that.
Yeah,
if I had anything to tell you, don't put yourself at risk there. We are working this very closely. We know the ransom notes that exist. We hand them to the FBI. They're experts in that field, and we keep up with what's going on there. But yeah, every note is taken extremely serious.
There was the tip that came in a little while ago about Nogales and Sonora in Mexico. I know you've commented on it before, but do you think there should have been perhaps a bigger or earlier effort to coordinate with the Mexican authorities?
Well, I don't know what earlier on was or what you talk about coordination. You know, we work here on the southern Arizona border.
I mean, it's just like smartassery.
Well, that's exactly what that is. That is, well, what is it you're talking about? And this tells me that the sheriff is now in a sort of, they're fencing. You say this, but which was it? Anybody we've been following the case, I know exactly to what he's referring to, which was the search for, there's a group in Mexico that searches for grave sites of where cartels had killed people. And that they had looked and they had said they hadn't found her, but they were going to continue to look. Now, if I know that, and I'm merely following the case, the guy who supposedly is receiving daily updates should have known, and he could have provided an answer that wasn't snark.
Exactly. And that's sort of his go-to.
In fact, Pima County has the largest shared border with Mexico than any county in the nation, 126 miles. We have not just with the FBI, but with DEA and ICE and others, task force members all across this county. And so we know when crimes occur that, yes, there's a chance that it may, somebody may try to get into Mexico, or we use our federal partners because who has those relationships? Typically DEA, ICE, HSI, FBI. And so we're constantly in touch with them. Without getting into, again, too much detail, we know of those existence and we work with those agencies down there. When we get tips that, I think we had one here recently that there were bodies found in Mexico, and we immediately gave that to the FBI, and they within hours learned that it was not related at all.
Okay. I want to go back to something that you mentioned before as well, because you had said that obviously with the ransom notes and, people trying to profit off of it and stuff, it speaks to kind of this broader problem. And that is that when you have a case like this in the public eye, it can be helpful to an extent because you get all of the leads that you referenced earlier, but you also have people with bad motives and bad incentives. And in Pima County, correct me if I'm wrong, but the last before this happened, big example of a crime, or at least one that kind of captivated and got the nation's attention, was the shooting of Gabby Giffords. I wonder how, from your perspective, it has been having to deal with, say, the YouTubers who are trying to get into the scene. I know you've talked about that before, and just more broadly, again, some of the bad
Look at his face.
faith actors who have been involved here.
So first of all, I headed up the investigation of the Giffords shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And we worked hand in hand, again, just like we did today, are doing today, with the FBI. That wasn't a whodunit, but certainly it was a very critical investigation and needed to be done, conducted
Nanos hates this kid, someone said.
properly. To the point of here in Pima County, and these critical cases come up, and YouTubers and the media. Media's changed. I've been at this game since 19.
That's a little mental vapor lock there. He literally did not know what to say.
Oh, he's spazzing out bad.
76. And we think of mainstream media, and then you also have now all the social media, and you have the YouTubers, if you will, or influencers. It's just constantly evolving.
This is a great comment here. I think too many of us want to know it all and know it now, but there really are things that we don't need to know, because he already knows, and we know he doesn't know what everyone else knows.
I can always get into the argument or discussion about ethics for journalists and this, that, but I think that's a better discussion had by people like yourself, mainstream media.
Yeah, but you arrested these streamers.
Yeah, but to listen to him talk about ethics would be like listening to Michael Vick talk about how animal cruelty is wrong.
Yeah, or how he wants to start an animal shelter.
Yeah, be the head of the what is it? The ASPCA.
When I talk about the YouTubers or those that have been in the neighborhood, I talk about them in a regards that says you still have a level of professionalism you have to maintain. You can't just go into a community, a neighborhood, and start harassing people because they're tired of seeing you.
Yeah, of course.
They don't understand your position. And I get the First Amendment rights and all of those things, but I liken it to this. You live in an apartment complex and you can have your music on as loud as you like during the daytime. But 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, 1 in the morning, it gets a little bit disruptive. It's no longer your right to listen to that music at that volume or that you have corrupted the others. The same here for the YouTubers. And I've said this. If you can conduct yourself professionally and get in and out of the neighborhood, I have no problems with that. But when the neighbors call us continuously, literally, we did a study here to show in that neighborhood is a great neighborhood for us in terms of crime and relationships with the community. We had probably 50 calls there the whole time, the last 6 months. And that's an average over 5, 6, 7 years.
Right.
This year, in those same 5, 6 months, it tripled. We had like 180, 200 calls. It is a disruption to the neighborhood. I think that neighborhood originally was very gracious to a number of reporters. Maybe you were out there, I don't know, but they allowed them into their homes. They allowed them to sit on their drives. They took them in understanding that you have an important job to do, and your job helps me get my job done.
Yeah.
But beyond that, after a while, it was a nuisance. And when the neighbors asked those to leave, most did. A very few, very small percentage refused and really got in the face of the neighbors. It just got ugly. And I still have a job to do.
Yeah.
And as much as I want to help you get your job accomplished, I ask that you be respectful to my community. And that's all that
said, Josh.
Of course, I just want to conclude.
He said he conducted a study. There's no, you just go to dispatch and have your computer-aided dispatch pop out the number of calls for service and sorts. So that might have required as much as 90 seconds
That's
of
the
work.
study.
Yeah, all right. If we want to play semantics, you could call that a study.
It's not. He looked at a piece of paper.
Well, and the other thing is that if people were in the neighborhood were annoyed at the streamers, but the streamers were not violating any laws, that's where, unfortunately, and one of the unfortunate elements of being a cop is you have to explain to people, I understand you're annoyed by their presence. They are not breaking the law, and I am not going to make a false arrest or violate their civil rights simply because you are tired of seeing them. And sometimes you have to tell citizens no.
I want people arrested all the time that I can't get arrested.
Well, and the thing is this, in his mind, he's weighing, well, I got these streamers and they're not from Pima County, and I got all these potential voters in this neighborhood. So it's a self-aggrandizing move. And the prosecutor dropped the charges, I understand, with the exception of the one streamer. So don't try and tell me that you were doing this for the good of the neighborhood, because at times you have to tell people, I'm not going to violate someone else's rights because you're annoyed at seeing them.
Right. Okay. Exactly.
With our interview here, by asking you about going back to Savannah.
But he's the king.
Guthrie, because I mean, that is really the Guthrie family, the ones who have been facing this unimaginable tragedy, and in Savannah's case, having to do it in front of the entire world, which, no one can really imagine what that would be like. In terms of, the pace in which the investigation is moving, from the conversations that you might have had with her in the past, do you think there's any degree where, the Guthrie family is frustrated with not just your department, but some of the other law enforcement agencies, in terms of wanting it to move faster?
Well, I'm sure they're like everybody, right? We've all been in situations where we want right now. I'm no different. I'm sure that still exists.
Stop that for a second.
But I don't believe.
Do you realize he asked specifically about the family?
Mm-hmm.
Look how he answers it. Go back.
Who do you make it about?
Move fast everywhere. From the in terms of the pace in which the investigation is moving, from the conversations that you might have had with her in the past, do you think there's any degree where the Guthrie family is frustrated with not just your department, but some of the other law enforcement agencies, in terms of wanting it to move faster?
Well, I'm sure they're like everybody, right?
Okay, stop. You realize what he's doing right here? He's measuring himself, or he's putting the family in the same category of everybody in the community.
Mm-hmm.
They're the victims. Their mother is 84 years old, was taken out of the house at 2:00 in the morning. And he's comparing that to the conversation he just had about the neighbors calling 150 times. That's his. It's almost like somebody that puts up videos of, like, take a look at my arm size. Okay.
I've done that before.
Yeah, so other people have. And, makes them feel important. But this guy here has just taken the pain and the suffering that, by golly, even just before this, Savannah did something. Okay. It's almost like AOC saying, yeah, on 9/11, some people did something. Well, yeah, some people flew 2 planes into the Twin Towers, killed 3,000 people. You see, he has no compass. He has no compass.
No empathy. He has no empathy.
And which leads me to the same type of minions that he surrounds himself with. You know, the same kind of, you know, the trolls that think, you know, they're better or they can do things or manipulate people, you know, because of whatever. All right. It's for them, it's just a game. It's a play thing. It's about look at me. Look at me. I'm so important. Look at me. But deep down inside, these are the same people in wheelchairs, you know, at the bottom of the basement, 750 pounds, you know, crapping their pants, eating bonbons. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They have avatars that say, no, look at me. And this is the same guy that goes to the country club on the weekends. He pisses everybody off. He's a drunk. He's got a gambling problem. And he hangs out at the country club and they don't like him there. They don't like him. Because again, listen to this one more time, how he answers this question. He starts it off with, well, like everybody else or something to that effect. He categorizes the victimology of Savannah Guthrie as being equal to the community. Her suffering, which he just saw on TV, by the way.
Yeah.
To
How
the
could you
community.
not be moved when you saw her?
He hasn't even blinked. Watch this.
From the conversations that you know, the pace in which the investigation, what that would be like. In terms of, you know, the pace in which the investigation is moving, from the conversations that you might have had with her in the past, do you think there's any degree where, you know, the Guthrie family is frustrated with not just your department, but some of the other law enforcement agencies, you know, in terms of wanting it to move faster?
Well, I'm sure they're like everybody, right? We've all been in situations where we want right now.
Now, what he did there was he shifted it to we've all been in situations like that where we want it right now.
With a connotation that that's an unreasonable expectation, instead of acknowledging that an 84-year-old woman was removed from her home. He's turned it into, well, that's kind of an unreasonable, the inference to me is very clearly there that
Sure.
that attitude is unreasonable.
Yeah, he's a charlatan. What he should, one of the ways he could have answered it would have been something to the effect of, you know, I can't understand what they're going through.
Yeah. And that would actually be accurate because he's incapable of understanding. It would be truthful, but
yeah. Instead, he turns it into look at me, look at the community, look at everybody around. Who cares? Who cares? This guy will not solve this case.
I'm no different. I'm sure that still exists.
And then he turns it back to himself. The question was about how Savannah and the family is feeling, and the conversation has turned into it's about me.
Yeah, how I feel.
Yeah, but I don't believe, in fact, I have zero indication that the family is frustrated with law enforcement and really angry with us. In fact, I believe the opposite. I believe that
how would you know that?
they
You're
know
not
that
he doesn't talk to him.
Yeah, you don't talk to him. So what, are you also a telepath?
I cannot imagine that they would be the exact opposite of frustrated with. It would be, it's normal. It would be.
We're frustrated.
This is Fauci. This is Fauci.
Have you guys ever had somebody frustrated?
This is Fauci.
Oh, pleading the fifth?
111 times where over 1 million people have died under his watch.
If we who have been following this case are frustrated by its glacial pace, we would have to assume that the family would feel even more so. But he is apparently incapable of even putting those thoughts together.
Yeah, unbelievable.
He is so skilled at selling used bread with mold on it, and he gets his minions around him to sell it with him. Just it kind of like, people do in the chat, when they, throw things out. They don't like to be called out. They hate it. But they'll keep on, they keep going because that makes them feel better. That you see, it's about them. It's not about Nancy, and it's not about Savannah. That's who the question was about. Yeah, I mean, trolls. This is a classic, narcissistic, trait. And trust me, we've been dealing with these people for. I'm glad that the world gets to see them thanks to social media, because cops have been dealing with these idiots for forever. Hey, it's nothing new. I mean, you're driving in the back seat of the car with, home fry sitting in the back, spitting on you, telling you, I'm going to kill your mother. I'm going to, do this. I'm going to do that, all this other stuff. Your family's going. And you just sit there and you go, okay, yeah, we're almost at the jail. Give me another 10 minutes. We'll be there. And then when they hear the clank, clank, all of a sudden the tears come. And deep down inside, they're cowards, they're babies, they're whiners, they wet their pants, they crap their drawers. You'd be surprised what people do. I had John Radcliffe one night. He hooks up a deuce, and she's got white pants on, and he calls for he was a dog handler at the time. And he goes,
Deuce, by the way, is a DUI.
He goes, I need a cage car over here. And so I got dispatched to the car. I get there, and he's walking her over to my car. And just before she gets into the car, she craps her pants, diarrhea everywhere. Down these white drawers, down these white pants, it goes. John turns her around and says, well, here you go. Get in. And he puts her in the back seat of my car. And I'm like, doggone it, Radcliffe.
The glamour of police work.
And I'm driving this gal Mach 1 to get her to the jail. But that's what these trolls are. They just crap their pants. It's the same. That's what he's doing here. He's crapping his drawers and not realizing at the same time that everybody smells the stink. And it's more about him in terms of everybody smelling the stink than it is about Nancy Guthrie, and it is about Savannah. That family needs to hire a top team and get this thing done. Because I'm really worried now, personally, because I've been there. I've been to Tucson. I walked there. I stood there. I looked at the house. I felt it. I could sense it. I could smell it. And you know what? They don't have a chance with this guy at the helm.
All right, a couple more minutes, and then we'll
have some challenges to overcome. That we too have a difficult task in front of us, but that task doesn't, as compassionate as we want to be. Mm-hmm. We still have to stay focused on what's in front of us, and someday, hopefully soon, we'll get the resolution that we're looking for and wanting on this case. But I just kind of ask the public, the media, even the family, to understand and know that we're working in this case every single day. We are.
Stop again. Do you realize what he's doing? He's messaging the family here. Why doesn't he just pick up the phone?
Well, I mean, that's the and it's been like that for some time now that he's been claiming that he hasn't spoken with.
Well, that means they have them in the sites. I mean, what other logical conclusion, John?
I can't think of another one. It seems to me a very curious relationship with a family that has undergone this tragedy. As Chris pointed out earlier, we were in daily contact with victims' families. That was part of the responsibility of being a homicide investigator. And not always easy, but that was a duty. And if they're not in daily contact, I can't think of any other reasons. I mean, other than if the family said, we don't want to hear from you anymore.
Yeah, maybe the family shut them off, but just think about
that's a possibility too, because they got tired.
That is a possibility. Yeah.
They maybe they got tired of this guy working his chin, and
I mean, because listen to that really. I mean, you don't even have to listen to it carefully, but listen to what he says. And I hope the family does too. He's talking to the family through this interview.
But can you imagine being a family member and having to endure this guy talking to you? Man, I'd be driving 10-penny nails into my ears so I wouldn't have to listen to this guy.
Yeah. Well, that's where you get your attorney and you walk into his office with your attorney and say, I'm going to give you 15 minutes to tell us what's going on. I don't want to know any information that would jeopardize the integrity of the investigation. I just want to know, are you making progress? And if so, here's our number. We want weekly updates. We want this, we want this, we want that, we want this. Now, and that's when he turns and he says, okay, Captain Jones is your point of contact. Call him anytime, 24/7, 365. Here's his cell phone number. 10-8. Instead, the sheriff is like, well, I understand, or they don't understand me. And if they want to talk to me, they can call me. They got my number. And I can understand they're frustrated like the community. Well, no, they're in a different category, Sheriff.
Yeah, okay. It's way different than the community.
I mean, the last time I checked, Savannah's in agony, in pain. Maybe she's talking to somebody, close to the circle. I have no idea. But I can tell you this, that poor woman is suffering.
Sure seems that way.
You got to have more of a heart than just tell a 17-year-old reporter out of Canada that if they want to talk to me, all I have to do is call them.
Yeah, that was what a statement. Esmeralda says here, the puffed up blowfish is Nanos saying, look, I'm just a fair, empathetic, ethical, and most educated sheriff, just trying to do my job, and I have the best team in the world. Everyone else is the problem, not me, not my team. Good point for that.
Yeah, nailed it.
I check in with my team pretty much regularly, at least weekly, if not daily sometimes. In fact,
at least weekly. That's good.
And apparently he's answering emails in Ireland about tips coming in.
Did you ever watch that show, The Office?
Yeah.
No.
There was a part where the quality control guy somebody put a vulgar watermark on a bunch of paper, and the quality control guy goes, once a week I'm supposed to go down to the factory for quality control, and the 1 year I skip it, this happens.
We have a meeting here this afternoon, and it's really not that I have this great mind and need to know all this information to solve the case. What I'm checking.
Listen to that one. Not that I have this great mind, and really? That's called reflective behavior.
That's like a diamond suddenly appearing in a coal mine.
That's a weird answer.
Yeah, that's a weird thing. And the message from Ireland may have been that there was a clue on the inside of a Jameson's cork.
in on
Exactly.
is their stamina, their energy, and I'm going in there with some reservations that, man, I hope I'm not seeing them shoulders slumping and they're feeling defeated. To the contrary,
Right.
every time I meet with this team, they are pumped. They
Okay,
are excited and energetic, and
stop,
every lead.
Josh, one more time. I'm sorry.
They're pumped.
You realize what he's talking about his team.
Yeah, right.
The question was about the family.
Well, who cares about them?
So let's do a paradigm shift for a second. Whose shoulders are slumped? Who's
Team. Yeah.
who's crying? Who's suffering? It's not the team. This guy has no empathy. He has no clarity, no vision, no understanding of how this works.
No fundamental human decency.
Absolutely zero. And that's how he can beat a prisoner who is handcuffed. Because what he's doing right now is beating the family. And they're not even handcuffed. He has shifted this entire conversation to the concept of this idea that, wait a minute, my team is not down. We're going to keep moving here. This is really interesting. Yeah, remember when this guy's biggest problem was going to the basketball game? Yeah, to watch his kid or his I don't even remember who that was for, but I remember
Yeah, I
that.
think he was just going to the Arizona
Going to,
basketball game, the Final Four, or no, the NCAA tournament. I don't think anybody. I don't think he knew anybody playing. He just likes basketball. He's a Renaissance man.
They are working hard. And so I guess what I would tell people is, look, it is frustrating for you because you don't know what we know.
Yeah.
The family is
All the
certainly
things we know.
frustrating to them.
And we still need to know what you know, because there's something out there that we don't know.
It's also frustrating to our teams, but they continue to put the white noise aside. I tell them, I got to be a duck. Got to let it roll off me. And we just keep working. And so that's what we do.
All right. We will leave it
like a duck.
there. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos, thanks so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Wyatt. I appreciate you too.
Thanks so much for.
All right. Well, there it was. Wyatt.
Excellent job, Wyatt.
Did a good job. I mean, it was great. He did awesome.
Good job. Sincerely.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Yeah, he did really well. So in closing, basically, I mean, it's just another blah, 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 I guess. We're no further down the road, and he did. Like I said, this was just nothing but his response to Savannah. I was woefully underwhelmed. I wasn't going into it thinking that it was going to be some the groundbreaking news, because it's been out for a day or two now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it just, it was woefully, the kid Wyatt did great.
Anybody want to take any bets if he goes on with Wyatt again?
Oh, yeah, he's.
I don't think that's real likely.
Probably not. I'm surprised that he still did. But once again, he had to. Well, he didn't have to, but he wanted to respond somehow to Savannah, to the FBI, saying that they weren't let in until 4 days later. That the FBI could have recovered much more evidence than they did. And so he took what he thought was going to be a softball interview, and the kid asked him all the right questions. The young man did well. And I don't think Nanos liked it very much at all, but it's another one for the books. What is it? You don't know what you know until you know, or we know, or something. I don't
And
know.
You can't even make that stuff up.
Well, and actually, what he's mangling is the concept of there are unknown knowns, and it's a military part of the military theory of there are certain areas that we can have an idea that they're unknowns, but there's another area beyond that which is unknown unknowns, and it's a fascinating concept. And what it is a thought process for within the intelligence community. But this is a guy who has a facile command of he's a jack of all trades and master of none. So once the shtick is over with, he's talking with him is like eating cotton candy. There's no substance to it.
I've never thought about eating cotton candy like that, but it makes sense. And they sell it for a lot. Like, it's kind of expensive.
Oh, well, it's a top money maker at carnivals because it's costs like mere pennies to make.
I don't think that there's probably anything worse for you in the world than maybe cotton candy. Well, I've had you guys here.
Oreos or deep fried Twinkies, maybe.
Oh, I love Oreos, but I haven't. God, I would love to kill a sleeve of Oreos. I would love it. You don't like Oreos?
I look. I love sweets, but I can't eat sweets anymore. I can't, and so.
What about you, Chris? Do you eat sweets?
Not much. No, not too much.
We're three old.
When I was married to a woman who could make a Frangelico cheesecake, yeah, I had good sweets, and in fact, I would have sneered at your Oreos because my Joyce made stuff that was, as a former fat boy, I love that stuff.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Same here, man.
Joyce was an amazing cook.
Well, she used to make a 10-pound chocolate fudge cake, and I know we want to wrap up here, but she would bring this 10-pound chocolate fudge cake in.
That's right.
And if you were the unlucky guy who was out like talking to an informant or something, and she'd bring it in and people have it for breakfast, and you'd come walking in and there'd be that empty pan, and because it was like locusts descending on the pan, and then you'd look at the room and go, well, I want to thank you SOBs for leaving me a piece of cake. Well, you snooze, you lose, man.
Yeah, I was right. Mikey's got it. Where I was, I was the middle stuffing between two Polynesians.
Yes, you were. You were the Oreo cream.
Was the Oreo man? And
hey,
go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to tell John to tell everybody where to get his book that just came out Monday. I've been asking you for months. Every time we do a show, when's it coming out? When's it coming out? Yeah. It's out.
Well, and it came out. I've been waiting for it to come out, and then suddenly I got the email that said, "Okay, well, it's posted on Amazon," and it is on Amazon. And it's called "Bring Out Your Dead." Written by John J. Lamb, and it's the third volume in my Service with a Sneer Chronicles. And Bring Out Your Dead is going to examine a number of the cases I worked during my first 2 years working robbery homicide. So there are some horrific crimes that are covered, but there is also still some snarky humor, but in the appropriate places. But this is more of a true crime book, but ideally you will that is astonishing. That's great. And I'm at work on book number 4, which is called Sun, Surf, and Savagery, which is another couple of years in homicide. But for those of you, I want to thank every one of you who has purchased my books. And And there's a question here about how do I get an autographed book? And I am actually in consultation right now with the mystery bookshop that does a lot of mail order books, and it's close enough that I could drive and sign the books, and hopefully we'll be able to do that. But if like you live, like if you're around Nashville next month, I'll be at the Killer Nashville Writers Conference, and just come up, and if you happen to be around there, don't call me Mr. Lamb. My name is John, and I mean it's nice that people are courteous like that. But I'm happy to sign books, but hopefully we will have a place where you can order autographed books. And if you happen to bump, I'm not like Gary, where people apparently recognize Gary all the time on the streets. Just ask.
Yeah.
Hopefully never. Okay, I actually kind of would like to still remain kind of anonymous. So, but thank you to everybody who bought the
I get
book.
recognized at the grocery store when I'm getting buying Oreos sometimes.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah,
What is
but
that? Then you take the Oreos out when you go look for Bigfoot.
yeah, usually it's just by the only people that recognize me are the people that work at the store, though. Like, oh, look,
Yeah.
Josh Oreos again.
Going, Josh, hey, did you know we've got the chocolate covered Oreos?
Oh man, now you're speaking my love language. Chocolate covered Oreos. Well, Chris, John, thank you guys so much. Chris, so your show from today, part 4 of the JonBenet Ramsey case, is out. And then when is do you know when your next show is?
Sunday.
Okay. So be looking for the show on the Interview Room Sunday as well. Sub up to the Interview Room.
Yeah, we're almost close. We're close. We're like 80 people away from 300.
That's it. So if 80 people, 80 people just go there right now and hit that like button, and then Sunday we'll start them out with.
We'll have a party.
Can I add one other thing, Josh?
Please, sure,
there are questions that people are asking here that we'd be here forever tonight. What I would recommend, you've asked questions, just go to after when this is downloaded, just go and make a comment there. Ask me a question. I promise I will answer you. I answer any questions. So that and CrimeCon in I'm hoping, and that's something that we're going to be discussing, because I would want to I wouldn't be just showing up by myself. So. But hopefully I will be there, even if it's just as an attendee. So you'll be able to find me.
Awesome.
Find me outside the hotel. I smoke my pipe.
That sounds great, guys.
All right.
You can find me in all the bathrooms. So. It's a good way. It's a base lot with a wire.
Yeah.
Hey, you look cute.
What if I got arrested by you? You're calling me out of crime.
I can't tell you how many people. Seriously. I mean, that's all you do for 8 hours a day.
You're just out. You're just in the bathroom,
meet and greets.
You're sitting
looking for a party. I told you, seriously, right, John? I mean, when I was in SES, our special enforcement as a vice guy, I'd go to church on Sunday and say, "Hey, so what do you do?" And I tell them, I pick up hookers all day long. They're like, I had a pastor one time come and go, "Could you do me a favor? Yeah, could you not tell the congregation that you're picking up hookers?" What do you want me to lie? I'm not going to lie. Of course, that's what I do. And I was good at it.
Oh, I bet you were.
I was good at it. I was real good at it. Hey, baby, what's up? Idiot. What are you, a cop? What are you, a cop? Hey, get out of my car.
You a cop? I pick up hookers.
I didn't look.
No. That's
No, he
hilarious.
was good. There was a reason why I never went into. Well, I was never picked for vice and narcotics because they had me aimed at homicide. But I look like a cop. You
That's
know,
true. You do look. You
I
do look.
guess that's the way. I mean, put on my Ray-Ban aviators,
Oh yeah, you look like
and
Chris looks like a
cheap
John.
suit, and
Chris
uh,
looks like the kind of guy that would hang out in the bathroom and try and pick up a hooker.
Absolutely. And all the ladies that be hanging
yeah,
out.
there you go.
You should call me McDuff. McDuff. I said, baby,
McDuff.
it's a true story. Baby, you look fine, baby. Well, thank you.
Did you take that as a compliment? Did you?
Absolutely, Latrina. I appreciate that tonight.
Yeah.
By the way, what are you doing out here and where are you from? Baby, what are you, police? Mm-hmm. That's right, baby. Where are you from? Seattle?
San Luis Nabisco.
Yeah, San Luis Nabisco. Mm-hmm.
Nabisco.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
What are you doing? Ain't nothing but a thing. Just kicking it right here. All right. Get in the car. I'm looking for a party.
Yeah,
how much, baby? 50-50, half and half, 25-50. What you looking for, baby? I don't know. What you got available? What's on the menu?
I mean, this is unbelievable.
This is literally.
I can play the game.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Play the game.
Yep. And so that, here we go.
Hop on in.
Jump on in, baby. Or down at the, the bathroom. I got to go to bathroom. BAFFROOM.
Oh, I saw you. I saw that picture. I don't know if I still have it, but you're rocking those tight jeans.
Oh yeah,
dude.
Yeah,
you're what the young kids would call a thirst trap in that picture.
You know what? You haven't lived until you had those jeans.
Let me see if I can find it here.
Oh.
It's here somewhere.
That's John.
Look at those.
There it is.
Look at those.
There I is. Back in the day.
Thirst.
That's Mission and Hill, right?
Mission and Hill. That's Sean Sullivan.
That's Herring.
Okay, Dave Herring. Got it.
So, we had a couple. I was working a B-op right there, and I was trying to. It got a little weird. So,
just a little.
One of the patrol guys pulls up and pretends like he's FIing me because all the hookers were watching me because they thought I was a John, and I was trying to get somebody in a play. But so Dave pulls up and he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Hey man, I'm working a play right now, man. Just go with it. Just roll with it, baby." So he patted me down, played the whole thing.
Yeah, he wanted people to know.
Yeah.
He must have enjoyed patting you down too. Look at those. I'm telling you, look at those pants.
I tell you, nothing like there was I don't have the picture tonight, but we were doing John, who did the operation where we got the storefront with all the free TVs? Do you remember that Warren operation with the marshal's office? And
I remember the operation, but I don't know who ran it.
So the U.S. Marshals, we have the courts, the sheriff's department, the marshals, and everything. They were having just a backload of warrants, and most of them were from our city. And so they got this storefront, and they had a partition wall, and they were giving away TVs, but you had to have a ticket.
Yeah, you sent letters out. We sent letters out that, you needed to come in and redeem the ticket to get your free television.
It's like Willy Wonka. And
I got a golden ticket.
Yeah, they're all coming through the door. "Hey man, I got my free TV, man." So we're right back here. We got the inventory. Come on. Let's go. Yeah. They come right through the door. Popo. Hello, police.
Laurel Flint wants to know what FIing is. FIing is a field interview card. And what that was is that when you stopped and contacted somebody that wasn't going to be arrested, but you wanted to have that information go into the computer system, The field interview would be, the description, the basic horsepower on the person, maybe clothing description, and a brief description of why you stopped the person. In this instance, it would have been, subject attempting to speak with bees. Bees being the expression for 647B, prostitution. So FIs are very useful when you go back later and you're trying to find somebody in a neighborhood. I don't know if they still do them anymore, but that's what a field interview is.
So I was the guy in the bureau, Josh, real last story, that could do the voices. I could do all kinds of different dialects and that kind of stuff. And we had an operation one time where they needed to hit a house, and so to make sure that the guy was in there, right? We had to verify that the guy's in there. So I would call the number, and the team would be outside, and I'd be, at a different location, and call the number. And as they answer, you hang up. And then you call again. They answer, you hang up. Okay. You call a third time, they'd answer and go, "Hi, this is Mr. John Johnson from AT&T. I'm sorry, we're experiencing some type of phone problem. Are you having issues with your telephone?" "Yeah, man, the phone, man, every time it ring, it hanging up, man." "Okay, yes, sir, no problem. I'm sorry. The problem is we've had an accident down the street. I'm looking for the registered owner of the apartment. Is Mr. John Joan Jean, whatever, is he available?" "Yeah, that's me. That's me." "Okay, sir. And how long have you lived there? And is your date of birth 10, blah, 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 blah?" "Yeah, that's me, man, right now." "Okay, he's there right now. Get him." "Hey, man, the police is here." Click. "Hi." Come on, home fries. You win the prize.
Every time with the home fries.
There it is. All right.
That's awesome.
We got
story.
a lot of those, but that'll be
Appreciate
another time.
All right, guys. Well, that was
Operation Telemaker. There you go. I love it. Aloha.
all right, guys. Thank you so much.
Good night. Thank
See ya.
you all.
Thank
And
you.
Mod, thank you also.
Yes, awesome.
Josh, thank you.
Appreciate you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Safe travels, John. And there it was. I appreciate everybody. Thank you guys so much for being here. What a fun show. And, it's nice to get on here and chop it up with them and, goof off a little bit. So anyway, I appreciate you guys so much for being here. You look tiny in this box, but, whatever. All right, guys. So thank you so much. And we will catch you on the next one. Good night.